Death, Lady of Men, Lady of the true faith and of the true path of those who breathe, hear my clamor.
Hi out there, it's me, Breanna. In this video, I'm going to chat with you guys about the preview for DeathBound. DeathBound is an upcoming Souls-like action RPG from dev Trialforge Studio and publisher Tate Multimedia. In a world where faith and science clash, you play as essences of fallen warriors harnessing their powers and abilities to survive in a brutal reality where life and death have never been more conflicted. Before we get started, I wanted to extend my sincerest thanks to both the dev and publisher for the code that they provided for this preview. Thank you so much. Okay, let's start by chatting about the environment. The preview is set in a level called Lower Street, where the Church of Death has assumed control. The ambience of this level brings to mind Demon Souls, specifically the Tower of Latria. It's dark and eerie, with distant screams of torture permeating the air. As previously noted, the narrative focuses on a conflict between faith and science, a theme that is reflected in the environment. Medieval knights roam the streets amongst buildings laced with electricity. Sightings of people burning at the stake are followed by touchscreen panels that unlock doors or activate elevators. I find the stark contrast within the environment very intriguing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this theme will be portrayed in other levels of the game. Next, I'd like to discuss both mechanics and story. You might be wondering, aren't those categories typically separated? Well, you're not wrong, but in Deathbound, the mechanics and story are so tightly intertwined that it would be nearly impossible to discuss one without mentioning the other. First, I want to talk about the essence/party system. In this game, you control a group of fallen warriors referred to as essences. While some essences are well rounded, others specialize in attack or defense, and each essence possesses a unique skill set and combat style, allowing you to tailor your playstyle to your liking. Each character also has a distinctive trait, like parrying or health leeching, that encourages you to weave between the different characters to get the most out of the combat. Besides being a unique and fun mechanic for a Souls like game, this game ingeniously expands on this basic mechanic in so many brilliant and interesting ways. Before delving further into the mechanics, I wanted to briefly mention the narrative implications of this base mechanic. Although never explicitly addressed, there's an intriguing question. If you're switching between the four party members, who are you actually playing as? There must be a character or entity linking these characters, yet their identity remains a mystery. One theory I find particularly compelling is that you, the player, might be a character within the world. These are all speculations, but I'm excited to find out when the game comes out. Okay, so moving on. In this game, your health and stamina are intertwined. This means that as you take damage, you end up with less stamina to dodge an attack with. Not to worry though, if one of your essences is low on health, you can just switch to another essence and use their damage to heal the rest of your party. Yeah, that's right. Any damage done by equipped essences heals the other three party members. Personally, I found this mechanic extremely satisfying. Being rewarded for the damage you inflict with healing is just chef's kiss. Another way the party mechanic impacts the game is through character interaction and behavior. For example, the characters may chat or even argue with each other based on your party's composition. Even NPCs might react differently or even ignore you, depending on your equipped character. It makes it feel like your character and party choice really does matter for the story, and I'm so excited to see this mechanic integrated into the game's complete narrative. Synergies and conflicts are another aspect of character behavior. Essentially, the fallen heroes, aka essences, either get along or hate each other. If you equip essences that hate each other in the slots next to each other, it creates a conflict, providing a debuff and buff to your entire party. On the other hand, if you equip essences that get along with each other, it creates a synergy, providing a buff to your party. This means that you not only have to plan who is equipped in your party, but also which slot they're equipped to and who is next to them. It really makes you think about who you want equipped and whether you'd prefer to strategize who's in your party for synergies or compromise the buffs for playing the characters you prefer. Another fun piece of the synergies and conflicts is that the game will actually provide you with an explanation as to why the characters get along well or not. I love the synergy and conflict system so much, and it honestly kind of feels like tea in the best way. Like, oh yeah, you tell me what Throne did. One final point I wanted to mention is the message that appears on the screen when you die. It simply states, refused by death. And while this is again pure speculation on my part, I have to wonder if this may point to why the fallen heroes haven't transitioned to the afterlife. In the short story graphic presented at the start of the preview, the goddess Death is said to play a pivotal role in the storyline. Perhaps the fallen heroes were rejected by the goddess Death herself. So far, you may have noticed that I've only provided positive feedback for this game. While it is true that I had a great time with this preview, there is one thing that I wanted to make sure I mentioned that really bugged me. And honestly, you'll never guess what it was. It was the ladders. When I tell you the animation for climbing and descending ladders was so agonizingly slow, I honestly wanted to rip my hair out a couple of times when I had to go up and down a ladder. It got to the point where I was avoiding ladders at all costs. I'll insert clips here of me taking forever. Overall, my experience with this preview was fantastic, and I really can't wait to play the full game. From vivid narrative and world to the intriguing and unique mechanics, this game is shaping up impressively. I definitely recommend adding this game to your wishlist on Steam and keeping your eye on it. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and whenever you may be watching this, I hope you have a lovely day.
I am Throne of House Guillaumin, and I shall be known as Crusader of Death.